Bumming with Bob. Let's have a few brews. We'll have some fun with the bum wine crew. So kick your feet up and grab you a beer. 'Cause damn, man, I'm glad that you're here.
All right. This is Bum Wine Bob welcoming you to an all-new edition of Bumming with Bobcat. And this is the episode you've all been waiting for. It is the official bracket reveal of the 2022 BumWineBob.com Battle of the Booze tournament. People wait all year for this tremendous event, or should we say a stupendous event, that the best of the worst in cheap booze battle it out to call themselves the BWB Battle of the Booze champion. And I can never go through the bracket reveal alone. And this week I have a special guest joining the show. He's making his triumphant return to the podcast. It's been a while. He's been on here a few times, and there's been one mystery podcast that never made its way to the air yet. It is our good buddy Roadhouse Mike. Roadhouse, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great and excited to be back.
Hey, man, it's great to hear from you again. Great to have you on the show. You were here with us when we did the 200-ounce episode, the celebration, and we are here for episode 245 today. And I realized just before, I'm like, shit, I really screwed the pooch on this one. I should have had a Colt 45 to go along with it. But we have a wide variety of drinks anyway, so I think we're set.
I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
The lineup tonight is really good.
Yeah. And also, as a kind of a side note on this week's podcast, while we are going to be breaking down the 2022 Battle of the Booze tournament, it's also the Four Loko USA redemption story. As people know, I tried this out a few months back, was not a fan of it, but now that it's kind of hit the masses, more people have tried it, it's gotten more rave reviews. I know Roadhouse himself has said he's a big fan of the Loko USA.
Yeah.
And also a few other people, our good buddy, the Bum Wine Connoisseur on Instagram, he's a fan of it. Four Loko is really pushing this stuff, so I said, you know what? I will give it another try, the redemption, to see how it is the second time around.
Let's get it kicked off.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to crack open this bad boy here, the Loko USA, which I mean, they've really gone all out with the promotion on this. I saw they even have a NASCAR, Four Loko NASCAR team. I mean,
really? I did not know that. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, I saw it a few weeks ago. At first, I thought they were just kind of BSing it, and then they started posting it more, and I was like, "Oh wow, they actually are legit. It is actually a racing team."
Well, that just makes me wonder where NASCAR's going, if as far as sponsorships, when they go Four Loko on their car.
As I saw it. They posted a picture. I'm looking at the Four Loko Instagram. It tastes like freedom. The Four Loko Camaro here, and I was like, "Wow, Four Loko is actually sponsoring a race car." I was like, "Okay, yeah, NASCAR VIP, the NASCAR Xfinity Series." Wow, man,
I
really?
noticed on Four Loko's webpage that they actually got their own recording label.
Oh, okay.
And they're starting to sign artists now too.
Hey, if they're looking to sign a podcast, you got one here for
right.
them.
Right.
All right, so here we go. I cracked open this USA. I'm gonna, cheers to you.
And
all right, it is better the second time around. The flavor is kind of it's I'm warming up to it a bit.
I'll go with mine.
Yeah, I guess it's that little kick of the sour, I guess, is what I'm not a huge fan of.
Yeah, that's where my palate comes in. My palate likes the sour. I'm like you though, as I was expecting the rocket pop.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking when they started promoting this stuff. And as I went through before, I'm like, it seemed like it'd be something that'd be great for summertime, 4th of July, USA, celebrating. But they released this in December.
December, correct.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what kind of took me out of it was that
Maybe,
if it was summertime, I'd be all in on it.
well, probably the story behind the December release of it is where NASCAR starts in right after the Super Bowl with the Daytona 500.
True.
So
yeah,
that car is probably going to be on a track, and no one's ever heard of Four Loko USA. That's probably the reason behind that release like that.
Yeah, but it's not bad. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a terrible drink. I've drank a ton things a lot worse than this, but it's not something that would be on the top of my list to crack open and drink.
Right. You're not going to walk into the store and go up to the cooler and say, "Oh, there it is," and be the first thing you grab.
Right. I mean, now maybe this summer, maybe I'll try to mix it up, and maybe I could see using this in like a slushy type thing. I think that could be good. Mixing it with some more alcohol. I get some rum or something with it.
Right.
Get some nice frozen cocktails going. Now that could be pretty good. Maybe
That's
add a little.
How I started drinking Four Loko. Is after work I'd stop at the gas station and fill an icy halfway up and buy a Four Loko and top it off with it.
No, see, that's the idea. That's what I like. That's something I got to do.
That's what I used to do almost every day after work. I'd grab 2 40s of Colt 45, half an icy, and then get in the car and fill it the rest of the way up with Four Loko.
There you go. Man, that's living the American dream right there.
That's your reward for a hard day's work.
That's true. You have to do. The people will go and they'll pick up a 6-pack. But hey, if you want to go there, fill up an icy, top it off with a Four Loko. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, did you have a go-to flavor at the time of Four Loko you would go with?
Well, I would match like watermelon, whatever the flavor icy was in that machine that day, because the gas station I went to always changed it up. So you walk past there and you figured out what flavor they had, then you went and matched it up in the cooler.
That's it. You got to keep it in line, because at least in that case, the flavor you're getting. If you try to start mixing and matching ices and Four Lokos, that could get dicey real quick.
And I mean, what is gold a flavor?
I mean, it's a color. I mean,
I do like the gold though.
Gold is good. I haven't had a gold in a while. I mean, I think it's probably been a couple years since I had a gold, but gold is a pretty good flavor. That's usually ranked the top flavor that most people enjoy of the Four Lokos, which kind of gives it its ranking as the number 1 seed in the Malt Beverages in the Battle of the Booze tournament. People listening at home, pull up the brackets. You can follow along with us here. We're going to you might jump around a little bit because it's the time of the year. People always look forward to. People are always asking me, hey, when's the Battle of the Booze coming? We're waiting for it. They love it. It's fun. It's exciting. March Madness at its finest. And in 2022, it's back. It's here. I mean, we got a lot of old favorites in here and a lot of new ones that made the tournament this year that qualified. There was the play-in matchups behind the scenes that went into this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hard work that goes into this bracket every year to see who is really the best of the worst in cheap booze.
One of the newcomers this year is Mad Dog Pineapple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this year's bracket. It looks really tough.
Well, because there's a lot of new ones. Well, at least in the malt beverages, because I added in this year. Because really, you have in malt beverages, you have Four Loko, Steel Reserve, those are like the big two, and you have all the different flavors. But this past year, when MD 2020 released their spiked punch line, which is a malt beverage, that allowed us to slide them in this year. So it added a whole new group of flavors and beverages into it there. So I think it'd be tough. Four Loko USA is in there as well. So that could be the new kid on the block that gets the push behind it to move along.
So what was the recap of 2021? Who was the champion again?
That was Colt 45.
Yeah, repeat.
Yep. The first two-time champion in the Battle of the Booze tournament was Colt 45 taking it home.
Man, it works every time.
Oh, it does. I was surprised. I mean, not that I was surprised that it made its way, but you always kind of think that you'll see somebody new, because the one I'm surprised that hasn't won yet and did make it to the finals a few years back, and that was PBR, which right. I think made it. I think that was the first time Colt 45 won. I think PBR made it to the finals against Colt 45, and Colt 45 got the win. But that's one that I thought would have made it by now. But I mean, we'll do a quick recap. We had 2021. We had Colt 45. You had in 2020 Miller High Life. 2019 Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor. Always a classic. 2018 was the MD 2020, the Bling Bling Blue Raspberry. And then 2017 was Colt 45's first victory. And the 2016 bracket was kind of the mini one, which was the smaller bracket, which was just all encompassing of MD 2020 as the champion. When it was a smaller 16 beverage bracket just to get the ball rolling, to feel things out. But in 2022, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, there's a lot of tough matchups, all the different regions here. You got your malt liquors, your beers, your bum wines, your malt beverages, the big four of alcohol right here. And it's going to be tough.
And each bracket, each line is under $3 for the most part.
Yeah.
Except for when you get into your Mad Dogs. And I see one here, it's sparking my interest, and you know which one it is. It's Colt 45 Double Malt.
Mm-hmm. I know that's your
not on that yet.
Yeah.
I know it's out there now. It's not a myth. I've seen it, and I'm going to get my hands on it in this year. That is one of my goals.
I know that's the unicorn out there trying. I mean, that's one that took me up until about 2 years ago to finally find it, and still there's only one store that I know of that has it, that is probably about an hour away from me, that I went to, found it. And anytime I'm in that area, I'll make sure to pick one up. But yeah, I mean, it's just how you can find it. Yeah.
Years since I first seen it on the internet. Every bit of 20 years since I first seen it on the internet, a picture of a Double Malt 40 in somebody's collection. And I've looked for it ever since.
Right. And at that point, you're just like, oh, this is fake. This doesn't exist.
Yeah, there was a Colt 45 menthol flavor.
I think I heard of that. Yeah.
And I'm not searching for that.
The one I did want that I never found, which they don't make anymore, and this was probably about 5 years ago, was the Colt 45 Pile Driver, which was the orange flavored Colt 45. That was one that I don't think it was good from what I heard from people, but it was one that I wanted to find and try out, because it was about 5 years ago, and never found it.
Well, I was lucky enough in the early 90s to have Power Master.
Ooh.
And nobody is really ready for that one.
I've heard about that. I've heard I've only heard the stories and the myths around that.
I mean, they carry the stigma as same as Cisco as far as the mess you up factor.
Yeah. Did it have a special warning on it? Along the lines of the Cisco, this is not a wine cooler.
No, I don't recall that, but I do know what you're talking about there, because that's the first thing we always pointed out when we get in the car, go through the drive-through. We get a couple of 40s of like the old 1111, and we'd get some Cisco as just like a sip, and we'd pass it around, and one rookie would hit it hard. Read the bottle.
It might look like a wine cooler, but this is not a wine cooler.
That's the one friend that like quit hanging out with us every single time. We scared them off.
And hey, if you can't hang with the big dogs, man, just take a seat.
I like these young guys, and granted, in their world, they drink. They can go out and drink a 12-pack of beer and hang out, but when it comes to drinking with the seasoned vets, they're used to drinking Busch Light and Bud Light and stuff like that, and then they enter my realm, and I buy a whole rack of Colt 45 talls, and they sit around and pound them down with me, and then next thing you know, they're asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, you start drinking those, maybe throwing a little MD 2020 in there.
Yep, absolutely. When they get in the realm of this bum wine, they don't know what to expect.
It's a whole different animal. It's a whole different animal when it comes to the bum.
And you wake up in the morning, you still have money in your pocket.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's cheap. It gets the job done. And even the four, I mean, I got to give the Four Loko credit in that regard, that it's not super cheap, but it's not expensive. It's like, I think for me, it's like $3 for a can of Four Loko. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not too expensive, but it's 14% alcohol, so it will get you a good buzz.
The percent per penny is on point.
Exactly. Yes.
And I'll drink to that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I gotta say, while I'm sitting here, I'm sipping on this Loko USA. I do think it is growing on me here. And the first time I tried it, I mean, you can go back in the archives. I did the full podcast, the taste test, the review back in December when I first found it. That I said I was not a fan. I didn't really like it, but I think this time around, the second time having it, because this was still the second can. I bought 2 cans that day. So this has been sitting, hey, there's a, drink.
Yeah.
It's been sitting in the fridge for a few months now, just kind of fermenting, kind of getting a little seasoned in there. And maybe that's what it took. Maybe because I picked it up the second day that they were out.
Right.
Maybe it had to just kind of sit for a bit, get the juices flowing in there in the can. It's actually a lot better this time around.
I'm sure the process that it takes to make this is less than a week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost done with this one. It is going down good.
Yeah, you kind of talked me into it when we were chatting last week or the week before, and you said you were having the Loko USA. You were feeling pretty good after the Loko USA went down over there, and I was like, you know what? Let me give it another shot. Maybe I was just kind of upset or cranky or just going into it with a negative mind. I'm like, let me start over. Let me give it a shot and give it a second try. And it is a lot better this time around.
Let's get back to the bracket, because there's a lot of interesting facts in here that if we get into the beer side, let me pull up that one.
Beers here.
So PBR is the number 1 seed in the beer bracket.
Yep. Making his top rank again. Probably for a couple last few times, I think PBR has been number one in there. Former champion, the High Life in there, number two. And I'm trying to think who snuck in. Well, let's see. We got a lot of ice beers. Always had to focus on a lot of ice beers this year to get them in there.
Where's Beast Ice coming from? What brewery is that one coming out of?
Well, that's the Milwaukee's Best ice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They call it the Beast.
I know that.
Yeah, the nickname for the Milwaukee's Best, and because I can't fill it all in on the line there. Milwaukee's Best ice, unless I put it really tiny in there.
Oh, Valentine's on there.
Yeah, I think that's always a favorite. That's kind of a sleeper pick. I mean, well, it's always a 40-ounce favorite, but yes. it's not a malt liquor. It's still technically a beer, so it always sneaks in there. And then always one that's kind of a little sneaky one is the people that like the Natter Days is always another one, which is, and it's not a bad beer for the lemonade beer drinker.
Yes, I like them pretty well. The Valentine, every time I'm in New Jersey, I'd go to Englishtown. I used to go once a year, but I made sure I got a 40-ounce of that as soon as I got in town. And that's the only place I ever had it.
Yeah, that's another one that the 40s of that is slim anywhere else, because I can get them here in Jersey, but other places people are like, man, we cannot find them. I can get 40s a few places. I can just get a 6-pack of bottles.
Yes,
but people are like, oh, you can get the 40s in there. I'm like, yeah, they're pretty common over here, but other places in the U.S., I guess they just do not stock them.
I have a strong feeling about Bud Ice this year. I don't know. I keep going to it. Rolling Rock is a strong one too, and they're up against each other right off the bat.
Yeah, see, I love me some Bud Ice. People give Bud Ice a lot of hate, but I've always been a big fan of it.
Yeah, and when ice beer first started coming out, say, I guess it was early 90s, 91 or 2.
Yeah.
I was heavy on it because it was more kick than the normal beer. And, you get twice as much buzz with half the money.
It all works out. Yeah.
It's hung in there all this time. So it's doing something right.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if now this could be the swan song for Keystone Ice, which got discontinued. It was on the list of beers that the Molson Coors gave the axe to last summer. It's still floating around out there. I know some places I go to, they'll still have some 24-ounce cans sitting there, but it's probably the last shipment of them. So this could be the last year for Keystone Ice Co. So could Keystone make its way? I don't know. It could be a feel-good story on the final swan song for them. I don't know.
This year is not going to be an easy year of picking. I'm just going through the list. Normally I just go through, I'm like, that's it. But even when you get down into the malt or the bum wine bracket, there is some really good ones up against each other.
Yeah, that's the problem. They're all good in their own way. Anything that's in this tournament, if you're someone like you and me, who's a fan of the bottom shelf cheap booze, you're going to find a way to put up a fight for any of these drinks to advance in the tournament.
Right.
Now, even if it's stuff that you haven't had before, like with the Colt 45, the double malt, you haven't had that, but you've heard so much about it that you're like, oh, that could win.
And then you got the person that had a bad experience on, say, Cisco Orange, and they see that and they automatically are just going to vote whoever's across from them. But that bracket is very stacked.
It's tough. And I think because really the only requirement for this is that it's something that has to have been featured on bumwinebob.com at some point. And I personally have to have drank it before. So everything you see on this list, I have personally drank at some point in my lifetime. It's all legit, because in the beginning, when I was still searching for some of these, I had to put some things on there that I never had before. And I didn't like doing that because I can't really vouch for any of them.
Yeah, there's no testimony to go with it.
Exactly, but I can say, okay, yes, I had, I finally got the Old English 800 high gravity. That was another one I got down in North Carolina in December. I finally got a 40 of that. I still have one more in the fridge that I took back with me. It's things like that I found, like the original Hurricane, not the high gravity Hurricane, but just the standard Hurricane. I had that last year. I like to make it legitimate and authentic, that it's all stuff that I've drank, I've had it before. I know people out there across the country, across the world have had it.
Right.
So it's, another sleeper in the malt liquor. Well, it's because it's malt liquor and quote unquote high gravity beverages. So anything that's really 8% or higher. And that's it's going up against Mickey's, so it's going to be tough, but that's the Natty Daddy. That's a solid one. I don't know if it can beat Mickey's, but that's one that could be a sleeper through the tournament.
Good matchup is St. Ives and Hurricane. Myself, St. Ives here lately has gotten rougher. It just seems. And then you got King Cobra and Country Club. Country Club's a strong contender, but King Cobra's got longevity.
Country Club's another one that I've only found it in one spot, so I've only had it a couple times. But the King Cobra, that has it's got the name identity that people will see, and that's another thing that people will vote on the name over the drink itself, which is a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, Country Club has pretty much disappeared in my area. It used to be a lot. You couldn't get it in 40s, but you could still get it in quarts. But I haven't seen any in a long time.
Yeah, it's been about a year or so since I've seen a Country Club, because that's when I got a 40 of it, and they had cans as well. And it was only one spot about a half hour from me that had it, so I'll have to swing by there and see if they still have it, because I know that was another one that they rebranded it, just like the Colt 45, where it doesn't say it's a malt liquor anymore on the bottle or the can. It says it's the Great American Ale or something like that. And that was another one with Country Club. They rebranded that from a malt liquor to an ale. So I don't know why these beverages think they need to shy away from the malt liquor stigma. It's one of those weird things where it's like, it's what brought you to the dance.
Yeah, another one that disappeared. Another one that has disappeared on us was Private Stock.
Yeah, I've never even had Private Stock. That's one that's been on my wish list.
That is actually a very good malt liquor. So when we get on the warmer days coming up ahead of us, I have a nice mixture I make up every year. It's called I called it Lightning Punch, and I'm going to change it up this year, and I'm going to do it. I know you've been searching for the perfect bum wine sangria. And I have a pretty good idea. I'm not going to reveal much of it now because I want to make sure it turns out right.
Yeah, test it out first.
Yes, but it's on the lines of what I already make normally in a big dispenser, and it involves like a 6-pack, some Sprite, some frozen lemonade, and then So you see where I'm going with it.
Oh yeah. I'm with you.
So I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm just going to incorporate Wild Eye, maybe some bling bling with the Sprite, and some malt liquor, and just giant concoction. And hopefully it turns out well.
I mean, I think it's got to be. It can't be bad.
No,
I mean, that was like the one I did. Yeah, the Halloween 2016 bum wine concoction, where I threw in the MD 2020 Banana Red, the Cisco Blue Raspberry, Thunderbird, the Orange Jubilee MD 2020, Mountain Dew, and Malibu Rum.
Okay.
And that was not bad. That was,
Yeah.
and I threw it all in a big, there's a 2-gallon beverage cooler. I put it in there, mixed it all up. It was not bad. I mean, I liked it. I brought it to a Halloween party that year. People drank it. They enjoyed it. But it was still, like I said, I was still trying to find that perfect concoction to make, because that was one of those ones where I had been hyping it up, saying I was working on this concoction, and I had started with some vodka and night train, and just trying to find that right mixture of everything. So it's still trying to find that perfect bum wine concoction.
So do you think it's a good time to mention to the world the new drinking game that I came up with this week?
Yeah, do it. Why not?
I mean, people like to get the party started. They're drinking, everything like that, but they need a little motivation to like kick it in, and drinking games are always the right move. So the fun one that I just came up with is going back into the archives, listening to some old Bumwine Bob podcast, and anytime Bumwine Bob says, you got to take a drink. Now, I would recommend doing something not like taking a sip of Mad Dog or anything like that, or doing a shot, or taking a pull off a Wild Irish Rose bottle.
You're going to be fucked up at that point.
you're probably going to only make it about 15 minutes into the game. But if you got to pull off a can of, malt liquor or beer or anything like that, you give yourself about 15, 20 minutes, and you're going to be caught up in the game of drinking if you're a late shower to the game.
Yeah. So while you gather your friends around, when you're hanging out, poolside, sitting around the fire pit, those nice summer nights, just chilling, having some drinks.
Right.
Turn on the podcast, hit shuffle,
Right.
You never know what episode might come up. It could be me rambling on about Four Loko USA, or I could be talking to anybody. I mean,
the one I'll recommend is the tribute to Hulk Hogan. Get into that one, the tribute to Hulk Hogan, and give yourself about 10, 15 minutes, and you'll be caught up with the rest of your friends. If you're
you're showing in late, and you say, "Hey guys, I got a game for you. Here, turn on this podcast. Yeah, search Bumming with Bobcat on all your favorite podcast apps, other than Spotify. Still banned from there. But
the early days, you might think that yourself might think, oh my gosh, the quality's bad or anything like that. They're actually really good to go back and listen to. I've enjoyed them. I started from podcast 1. I think I'm into October right now. It's really been enjoyable going back and re-listening to all these old ones. And I was just sitting there like, man, that is an awesome idea to come up with this drinking game.
Oh, yeah. On that note, I finished my Four Loko USA. I'm just cracking up. I'm gonna keep it simple here. For now, I got a tall boy PBR over here. The number one seed in the beer bracket.
Correct. I've been piggybacking back and forth between my tall boy of Mickey's and the USA, but the USA is now gone.
So you got to get the
my Mickey's is all gone. So I've got a big choice here to make. I've got Bling Bling, Pineapple, and the Mad Dog.
Ooh.
Got Wild Eye and every other Four Loko. And
you pretty much have every other Four Loko flavor in the world. I mean, I'll post the pictures up on the website when the podcast goes there with what Roadhouse sent me here of his lineup here tonight of every Four Loko. I mean, what do you got? You got the blue ras, you got the gold, watermelon, Four Loko USA, the sour grape, the sour apple, and the
old trusty rusty 12% strawberry lemonade.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I think that was the original, the first Four Loko on the website that I did a review on was the strawberry lemonade that I had in Las Vegas in 2015.
And that is a go-to. It doesn't have that. I don't even know what flavor follow that is that Four Loko has, but the strawberry lemonade does not have it.
Yeah,
and it's just that's just a great summertime float in a pool. It's just a good pool.
Yeah, I got to get it. I haven't had. I think that was the last time I had one. Was then, so I have to. I think this year, summertime, poolside, I'll need to pick some of those up and crack it open.
So at the Roadhouse Estates that we just moved to this year, or in October of last year, it's the first time in my life I've had a pool. I moved in just in time to close the pool for the year.
So this will be the first year of actually getting to enjoy the pool.
Yes, and guaranteed floating around in my float with the cup holders with a strawberry lemonade for sure, and whatever 40 I have that day.
Oh yeah, me too. That's when I put in a pool a few years back, it was and you don't get to enjoy it as much as you think you would. But I'm like, this year, I'm like, for sure, I'm sitting out there in the float with the Four Loko or the 40 and just sitting back in the float, laying up in the sun, sipping on it and relaxing. That's my plan for this summer.
Well, I'm going to throw my invite out to you. Anytime you want to get away from the city and all that, come out to the country. You know, I'm out here in Kentucky, and I've got plenty of room in this new house.
And we'll just sit poolside, sipping on some 40s in the pool, and just relaxing,
watching the smoker roll.
That's it. Hey, that's the way to do it. That's what I try to do here too. Is just kind of sit back, relax. You know,
stress free, baby.
Exactly. That's the way to do it, man. I mean, that's the way you get good drinks, some good food, and you're all set.
I'm just I feel really blessed for somebody I've never met in person, and the friendship that we've built over these years, talking about something totally different environments, but the love for one thing: cheap booze. And one day we're going to be able to sit down and crack a can together. And
oh yeah, we'll crack a can. We'll crack some bottles. When we do it, we're going all out. We're going.
It's going to be.
We're going ridiculous. Balls to the wall.
Yeah,
I got those. I got all those bottles on. I had somebody reach out to me a few days ago, and they asked me if they're like, "Oh, do you have a case of Thunderbird?" And I'm like,
"What?"
Well, I'm like, I have a few bottles. I'm like, but
They're highly guarded.
Thanks, Emma. And she's like, I'm like, well, what do you need them for? And she's like, oh, well, my friend, I guess, had an incident with it at some point. And I'm like, well, I know a place that might have a few left in stock, but I kind of have to vet out the story first before I can send somebody these highly wanted bottles.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe anybody would ask. If they knew anything about it, they would just give you praises for having it.
Yeah.
And not request some.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, do you have a, can I get a case? And a lot of people reach out to me thinking that like
You're
have
a
this stuff,
distributor.
right, or I sell it. And I'm like, look, I'm just a guy. I drink this stuff. I enjoy this stuff. Yes, I have. I mean, I'm sitting down here right now at my bar down in my basement, and I'm looking at the box I have here, and I probably have like 6 bottles each of Night Train and Thunderbird, but they're in safekeeping here. I'm not drinking them. It's like we said, it's for that special occasion where you crack it open to enjoy it. And at least with, I mean, Night Train, I cannot find anywhere at this point. I know of one store that does have, at least the last time I was there, probably 6 months ago, had maybe 6 or 7 bottles of Thunderbird left. And I should probably go there tomorrow and buy them up.
Get them. And just get them up. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was there last time and I was like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? But I'm like, nobody else is going in there and buying this stuff other than me and you.
Right.
and a few others that are, big advocates of it, like my buddy Crude, who's close to me over here. He went to that same store. He bought a few bottles last year before he went to the Guns N' Roses concert. So he knows where it is. And he told me, he's like, oh, there's still like 7 left. And I went back a month or 2 later and there's still the same 7 bottles left on the shelf. So I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I would have done bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think next time I'm usually have to go in and say, all right, I'm taking all of them. Just give me the box. They're coming with me. And
even if I have to front you the loot to do it,
yeah.
Hold on to them, I'm there with you. Because
just so you know, they're in safekeeping.
Yeah.
Because like I said, once they're gone, they're gone.
You have a couple cases you can send me.
Yeah.
I mean, they just don't understand how regarded that is to the connoisseur.
Yeah, no, for the select few of us. Honestly, there's probably 5, 6 of us that are on this level that are dealing with the cheap booze and the bum wines that really embrace this. I don't want to call it society, but it essentially is.
It's a lifestyle for it's a lifestyle that we've developed over time. In the beginnings, when we were younger, we didn't have a lot of money. We wanted the most bang for the buck, and then it just stuck with us.
Yeah, and I'm still that way too. I go into the store and I'm looking around, and like last weekend, I was out at the liquor store and I'm looking around. Okay, what beers do I want to get? And I'm going through, and Hamm's is my usual like go-to beer recently because it's usually like $16-17 for a 30 pack.
Right.
And I looked and it was $20. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like,
yeah.
Like, okay, that's crazy. And then I saw the Genesee Cream Ale, which was only 17, and I was like, all right, well, I'm getting this instead. so I got that. And so it's one of those things where you're still looking at the stuff, still trying to be thrifty with it. It's not being cheap, it's just getting the best bang for your buck when it
Right.
comes to the booze.
In the early 90s, PBR was like Milwaukee's best. And then when you get into the 2000s and the hipsters get on the PBR, then the price goes way up. And it's, a 30 rack of PBR is the same price as a 30 rack of Miller Lite or Bud Light.
Right.
So then you go to the hams. The hams is $16.99 around here, and it's jumped back up to about $20. So you can get PBR for $21.99 for a 30 rack. It's like you want the most bang for the buck. And, if it's Keystone for $19.99 for a 30 rack, that's what's going in the cart.
Yeah.
So, during the week when, you do your excess and moderation, you drink a little bit every night, and say one night to do it all, you drink that Keystone. And then one night I'll come out here, and for tonight, for example, I've got USA.
you got the whole Four Loko clan there.
I've got, my USA. I got my Mickey's. Talls that I got for $1.19 for 24-ounce can. So I bought all.
Man, I'm really envious of you for that one. When you were like, I got these all for $1.19 a can, I'm like, son of a bitch, how did he do that? I can't even get the Mickey's cans. I can get the 6-packs of the grenades around here, but that's it.
So I'm in a new area as far as this new job I took, and I had never seen Mickey's in a tall, just in grenades. And it's on a premium price level at where I used to live. And so 2 weeks ago, I bought 2 12-pack talls for $1.29 a can. And then this week I needed to re-up on it, and they dropped 10 cents. That USA is already kicking in. I can feel my
No, I hear you. I'm with you, man. I hear you. It works out in the end. It's good. I give USA A-okay. Thumbs up.
Yeah. And it gets 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Well, I just cracked my second Mickey's. And like I said before, I'll trade 2 Mickey's for 1 double malt any day of the week. And I got to give it up to the new guys, the next generation of malt liquor drinkers. And there's a few of them out there that I follow on Instagram and YouTube. They make me proud. We're a select few. These young ones that are coming up underneath us definitely have been showing me respect on social media, and I give them their props too. I really enjoy watching these young kids come up and experience the joy that we have with malt liquor. And there's just a handful of them, but I really support them heavily.
Yeah, you don't find many people that are supporting the malt liquor community, the new generation of it. I mean, because everything is pretty much the craft beers, the IPAs. Now, you don't find as many, guys that will be fully promoting the seltzers of the world. But I mean, they're out there. But for people to be out there with like us, the OGs of the malt liquor, the cheap booze community, and people that will fully embrace that, I'm like, hey, cheers to you. I'll drink to that.
Well, this is what's really fascinating is Bumwine Bob as a brand. 2014, you kicked it off, started your podcast in 2015. We're now in 2022, and you're holding strong, you're hanging in there, and you're doing your thing. I mean, that's respectable. And I give you all the props in the world.
Well, thank you.
It's like back in the day, I'd go to field parties or any kind of party. I always rolled up with a brown bag.
Right.
And it's normally a Colt 45 in it. And then I got another brown bag in my back pocket with some kind of MD 2020, whatever flavor. And I'd always get this comment. Oh man, a man shows up with a brown bag, got something good in it. And then when I pull the bottle up out of the bag and show them, and then they run off.
It's like, what, you don't want some of this bling bling? Come on.
You know what? You can go there and you can drink I've got less than $5 invested in this evening, and I'm going to get twice as trashed.
Right. Right. It's drinking on a budget.
Yes.
What's going to get you the most, fucked up, the best bang for your buck.
Yes.
And get the job done.
And now as I got older, now I'm going to reveal that I'm now 50 years old. In my older age, I've had a taste for very fine bourbons. And I'm not talking your typical Maker's Mark or Heaven Hill. I'm going small distilleries. I bought a bottle a couple weeks ago that was $85, and it's money well spent. But my palate has changed as I grew older for these finer bourbons. And I've got some really nice bourbons, and I pull on them from time to time. But I'm at a different point in my life than I was when I started drinking in my early 20s, where I lived paycheck to paycheck, and some months didn't even pay my rent because I'd rather buy booze than pay rent. And but I still can't escape the fact that I love these bum wines. And just knowing that I'm about to get just annihilated on less than $5. But right, I don't drink bourbon. I don't drink bourbon to get drunk. I drink bourbon to enjoy the craftsmanship of what they put into it.
Right. There's a time and a place for each of them.
If I want to get trashed, I mean, I'm not going to pull the bourbon bottle out that night. I'm going to pull on some bling bling.
Oh, right. I'm not gonna go through an $80 bottle of bourbon to get drunk. I mean, I'm gonna get the $4 bottle, and drink that.
I'm gonna have I have a good day at work, and I did
right. You just want to take the edge off a little bit, relax, get a little bit of a buzz, but not, wasted, on a Tuesday night.
I'm like, I had a great day at work today, and I think I'm going to pull out that high dollar stuff and pour me a drink and sit back and think about how much money I just made today.
Right. I'm just going to chill, relax a little bit, get the buzz going, and then say, okay, I'm good now. I'm going to go to bed, and then, call it a day.
Or reward myself. And then on Friday, I look back on my week and I said, man, I kicked ass this week, and I'm going to get smashed. And then I crack at Four Loko USA and kill it in like 3 or 4 big gulps, and get that buzz on quick, and then drink on a Colt 45. I'm like, man, I feel good.
Yeah. Hey, works every time.
It does, baby. Well, I'll tell you what, Bum. We've built up this market for our small community of people that we have, and just going back to I love going back to grassroots. I always rotate back to grassroots, and going back and listening from the beginning and seeing how much, and I keep saying we, because as a listener, I feel like I'm involved too. But
you're part of the team. You're on board with us here.
It's like how much we evolved from the get-go, and makes me real proud. Getting it out there to the people that don't know, they can have such a good time on such a budget. God dang, this stuff's kicking in good.
See, that's why I said I had to give that Four Loko USA the redemption here. I'll say it right now, 100%.
Yes.
It's got the Bumwine Bob seal of approval now.
Yes.
I take back what I said. I mean, you can still go back and listen in the archives, because I'll take that download for you to go back and listen to it. But yes, I mean, it's drinkable. Because like I said, I've had a lot of malt beverages that it's been a chore to get through, because I'm not one that will go through and, like, you've watched the videos, you've seen the people, they'll do the drain pour and they'll pour out what's left. I'm like, no, I'll power through anything to get through.
You can't waste it.
No, exactly. With this one here, drank it all, and I give it the approval.
And I think it has a lot to do with the atmosphere.
That's true. If I'm drinking it here with you compared to me by myself drinking it and enjoying it, I think it's sippable, it's drinkable. I cannot complain about it at all this time.
Well, I'll drink to that. Well, I think I'm done for the night. I've got 2 talls down in that Four Loko USA.
Hey, you can't go wrong with that. That's a good night right there. Like we said, when you're not drinking to get, super smashed, not like the previous podcast we mentioned where it has not seen the light of day yet.
That was over a good 10-hour period. That was what,
right. That was you were drinking the MD Gold, right, and the Colt 45 and PBR extras, right? Wasn't that the whole?
And a Jubilee.
Yeah.
So 2 bottles of Mad Dog. I don't want to hear that anymore.
Yeah. It's all right. It's in there. It's under lock and key. I mean,
that's a good one to probably edit up real good, chop and choose.
That's the one when we get the whole paid platform set up and people are paying for it, we'll finally release that. Then you can get some royalties from people listening to that podcast.
If your listeners request, we need that out of the archives. And
then
and then they say, well, at least break it up to a highlight reel.
Yeah, exactly. We won't let people sit there.
That was a good 2-hour conversation.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Oh my God.
It was good. It was fun times though. It was fun. We had a good time. It's always good chatting with you, and we definitely have to do it more. And even if it's you coming on the podcast and being part of this show, and just hanging around in the background and drinking.
Yeah, I always said I'd be your Ed McMahon, did your Johnny Carson.
Exactly.
Ed McMahon just sat back there and just chuckled.
But I guess before we call it quits, I guess what's your prediction for the tournament here? Who do you think is gonna take it?
All right, so I'm looking over it again, and my prediction for this year, and I'm going strong with this because it has I'm going to go with Mad Dog Pineapple.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it is great. And we had all that hype built up for it being a limited edition with the Mad Dog Gold. And I did a review on it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It had such a good going and following that they decided to put it into full production.
Yep. Pineapple Gold now.
Yep. So it's just Golden Pineapple Mad Dog 2020 is my pick for 2022.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm going through here and I'm looking, and I think this could be the year for it. It's been close before. It's sitting back here behind me right now. It's on my wall. It is the PBR. I'm drinking it right now. I think Pabst Blue Ribbon could be the year that it finally. It's been getting a lot of buzz. I know the social media for PBR has kind of picked up steam over the past year or so. It could be the year. It's going to be close, though. I mean, we went through this. Any one of these beverages has a chance to win the tournament this year, and it depends on
in a good bracket.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
For the start, the only contender it has, he might have trouble with Rolling Rock when it drops down to it if it happens. But if he makes it through, gets down into the final four, he's up against I'd say Keystone Ice will make its way in.
Hey, it could end up being a PBR MD 2020 Pineapple Gold in the final four round. It's tough. It's a lot of tough matchups here.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait till this kicks off. We get as many people voting, and that's what's going to determine it.
You got to get out there. You got to vote. You got to tell your friends to vote. The brackets will be open later this week. If you head to battleofthebooze.net, the first round matchups will be open. You can vote for all your favorites there. Tell your friends to vote. Get the word out there.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what's going to determine this, making it exciting as hell. Is as many people as involved as possible, because this is the best bracket I've seen so far. And as soon as it opens, I'm gonna get my votes in, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think this year's bracket is probably one of the most solid we have had.
Yeah, it is
in the years of doing this. And I went through this year, putting it in the everybody who qualified got into the tournament. Setting up the matchups, and I was going through even earlier today, just setting this up, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of tough matchups here. There's a lot of tough votes that you can think people will vote on just by name and brand identity, but you could see some sleepers, I think, make their way through the bracket.
I got a strong favorite for the old school stuff, but it's hard when you can't get it anymore. Night Train.
Right. That's the stuff too. People who haven't had that, they see it. I mean, that's like the bum wine bracket is probably the toughest one out of the bunch, because a lot of that stuff you can't find anymore. Like the Thunderbird, Night Train, Cisco. I mean, it's very slim these days. You can find the MDs pretty easily for the most part, depending on the flavors. So it'll be interesting. I'm waiting to see who will advance in here. It should be fun over the next few weeks going through, seeing who makes their way through the tournament and who eventually calls themselves the 2022 BumWineBob.com Battle of the Booze champion.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We had a good time here breaking down the bracket. Cracking open some Four Loko USA, the redemption story here. As I said, I give it the approval now. Second time around, I give it 2 thumbs up. I think what it means now is that I have to go find another can and give it another shot to see if the third time's a charm and if it really is as good as the second time.
and it will be. The Battle of the Booze is a kickoff to the summer season.
That's true.
Warmer weather's coming around, party time's coming around. Just like it's just the kickoff, summertime, spring flowers, all that stuff. Right behind Battle of the Booze.
And maybe the third time when I have this, maybe poolside floating around in the pool, I'll have to crack it open and see on that nice warm summer day.
Yeah.
If it works out then.
Yep. And I know it will.
Hey, this is Roadhouse Mike. Good chatting with you, man. Always good to hear from you. We're always in contact.
Yep.
With each other. And it's always great to have you on the show. And definitely we will do it more. We will make it happen.
Absolutely. I'm at your exposure. Anytime you're ready, you just hit me up, and if I need to stand in, I will.
All right. hey, and don't forget to vote in the 2022 bumwinebob.com Battle of the Booze tournament. You can see the brackets once they're live over at battleofthebooze.net. Yes, we are back there again. I got the domain. It's been renewed. We're live. You can keep up with the latest bracket at that website. But if you can't find it there, hit up bumwinebob.com for the Battle of the Booze 2022 bracket. Roadhouse, you got anything else to say?
No, all I got to say is if you see it on the list and you haven't tried it, go get it, try it, and then cast your vote.
That's true. We give people a few days to vote. It's not like 24 hours, it's done. I try to give people enough time to see the bracket, get out. You see, oh shit, there's Ballantine Ale. I haven't tried it. Let me pick it up, pick up a 6-pack, try one out. And then 2 days later, okay, I can cast my vote now. So
yep.
Don't worry. It's not like it's time constraints. I try to give people enough time to vote. This is gonna last. It's March Madness. It's that time of year. It will be a few weeks before we're done with this whole tournament. So don't think that it's going to be 24 hours and it's done. You have time to hit up your store, pick up the goods, give them a try, give it your best vote, and tell your friends to give it a shot as well. There you have it. It is the 2022 bumwinebob.com Battle of the Booze tournament preview / Four Loko USA Redemption Story podcast.
Redemption, baby.
Redemption story, yes. I was on the fence, but I'm sitting here now. I give the Loko USA 2 thumbs up. And hey, Four Loko, if you're listening, sponsor the fucking podcast. You got that?
Yeah, you motherfuckers.
I've been tweeting at you. I've been sending you messages. You don't respond to it. I'm hitting up the DMs, so be ready. So hey,
product more than NASCAR does.
Exactly. Hey, I got MD 2020 on the line. You want to be on the list next? Come on, let's make it happen.
I thought we were definitely going to have that collaboration.
Yeah. I'm in the works. I'm in the works. We'll see what happens. So we'll see.
All right, brother. I appreciate you.
All right. It's Roadhouse 71. Follow him on Instagram. Keep up with his booze. I am Bumwine Bob. Check out the website, bumwinebob.com. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
I need a beer.